Okay, so I've been animating for on and off for quite some time. Of course, Maya 2017 changed the graph editor so that we can go into we have the modern view. If you do not have this view itself, if your keys are just little dots on here, you don't see these little diamonds. You're using the old interface. Let me know in class, and I'll help you change that to the new one. So I haven't used that much. In the past couple of years, been doing other types of work. But I have this example here that we're working on where I have the bouncing ball and just kind of rolls through and it stops. Again, it's just to be a little tutorial. The one thing I don't like is ends a little quick for me, right? But I've matched the values pretty well where the rate of the rotation seems to be matching the rate of the forward speed, right? So how can I not have to reanimate that by hand, but use the graph editor and some of its new tools to do that? So right now, as I look at the graph editor, this is in, well, I guess one thing I should say is instead of having, what I want to match is the rotation from this with the forward motion of this. So instead of having to shift select both of them, I can just go to the character set, which both of those are a part of, and anything that's been keyframed in the character set. So right now I just have the translate and the rotate control have been keyframed, right? So if I click on all of them, they're here in the frame. This red one here is the rotate command, and then here's the translate Z. I just can't even really see, like the Z doesn't seem to be doing anything, right? But if I click on it, it auto frames, but you can see this goes from 0 to 20, and the rotate goes from 0 to almost 1500 because it's rotating a lot, right, on that x-axis. So Maya's auto framing, but if I click on both of them, the proportions of these are so different that you really can't see how the curves might be matching each other. So Maya added this pretty wicked cool new view. So this is the absolute view. So the kind of regular, here's the numbers, here's the timeline, right? They have stacked view, which is just a clean way of kind of matching these together. So you can see a relative amount of change in the curve view. You can see there's no numbers over here, right? It's no longer relevant. Or I can go to the normalized view. And the normalized view is great because I really like it because it puts everything between 0 and 1, I believe, or maybe it's -1 to 1, probably 0 to 1. But you can see these two now match up very well with each other. And again, there are no numbers over here to give you an absolute. It's just taking whatever the lowest value and the maximum value is and fitting it in that range or normalizing it, again, from 0 to 1, I guess is what the default would be. So they now look in proportion to each other, right? Even though these numbers would be vastly different from each other. That's the max here for both the Z and that. So if I want to, first thing is I'm going to click down here and just scale this out because I want it to move further. But now you can see it's just like kind of crawling and it's not going as far as I want it to go. So I'm going to select both of those and I'm just going to hold down the shift key and middle mouse and I'm going to move it. And you can see it's kind of moving in proportion to each other, right? I might have to do some tweaking, but already that looks pretty good to me. So let's see what happens. Right, so maybe it's moving too fast all the way out there. Maybe it should be a little bit slow. I made this value maybe a little too much. You can see it also snapped there as I was working with the normalized view. So let's see what happens there. And if I need to, I can do renormalize, and we'll snap it back into that. And I'm just going to soften that just a little bit. So let's see what I get. So a little bit slower. I don't think it's quite what I want. You see every time I select it, renormalizes, which is just great. Very infrequently do I say, yay, Maya, this is perfect, exactly what I wanted. But that's kind of nice. So just this normalized view might be a way for you to see how these things are working together. with their relative speed and such. Okay? All right.